Something unsettling is happening in Senegal. Something no one saw coming. A political partnership once celebrated as unbreakable is suddenly showing dangerous cracks. For months, the world believed President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko were moving as one, a historic alliance powerful enough to reshape Senegal's political destiny. But now, the foundation of that partnership is shaking. It began on November 11th. President Faye announced the sudden removal of Diomaye, the woman who led the Diomaye President coalition, the very coalition that carried him to victory in 2024. She wasn't just another political figure. She was one of Sonko's closest allies. Then came the twist. Just 24 hours earlier, Prime Minister Sonko had publicly declared that there would be no change at the head of the coalition. 2 Leaders. 2 Opposing decisions. 1 Explosive message. A power struggle has begun at the top of Senegal's government, and this isn't the first time tensions have surfaced. So now the real question is terrifyingly simple. Is Senegal witnessing the beginning of a political breakup? And if this alliance collapses, what does that mean for the country? Let's dive in. On that Tuesday, Senegal was shaken by an unprecedented clash. President Faye and Prime Minister Sonko released contradictory statements about who controls the coalition in power. It wasn't just a disagreement, this was open defiance, a public signal that something had broken at the top. And the timing couldn't be worse. Behind the scenes, Senegal is struggling through tense negotiations with the International Monetary Fund. The IMF froze a massive $1.8 billion support package last year after the government revealed previously hidden debts. Debts now estimated at over $11 billion. A financial time bomb left behind by the previous administration. This political showdown isn't happening in a vacuum, that it's unfolding in the middle of an economic storm. Over the weekend, Sonko announced that the IMF wanted Senegal to restructure its debt, a move he firmly rejected. But something was strange. President Faye didn't publicly support Sonko's statement. He didn't deny it either. He said nothing. That silence changed everything. Ordinarily, Faye would have echoed Sonko's stance. The fact that he didn't fueled speculation that the president might be open to the IMF's proposal, even if Sonko wasn't. Then came November 11th, the day the quiet tension became a public rupture. President Faye fired Diomaye and replaced her with his former campaign coordinator, Aminata Touré. The timing made the message clear. Faye was drawing a line. Sonko responded instantly. His party, PASTEF, the same party both men belonged to, declared the president's decision illegal, insisting Faye had no authority to dismiss Mbaye. They publicly stated they did not share the same values or principles as her replacement. That was the moment the entire country realized the truth. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a full political clash. And this isn't the first sign of trouble. Back in July, PASTEF held an event celebrating its 11th anniversary. President Faye wasn't there. He was in the United States meeting Donald Trump. But the celebration took a shocking turn when Sonko took the stage. Instead of praising the party's achievements, he launched into a fiery critique of the president. He complained that Senegal had a lack of authority, accused President Faye of being too weak, too passive, and too slow to act. Then he said something almost unimaginable for a sitting prime minister. He must take responsibility. Otherwise, he will let me govern. He will let me govern. Those words stunned the nation. They revealed a power struggle hiding in plain sight. According to Sonko, there is something deeply wrong at the top. He sees Faye's calm, quiet style not as caution but as weakness. He believes the revolution they promised is being slowed down by hesitation. The contrast between the two leaders is impossible to ignore. Sonko is fire, loud, uncompromising, nationalist, unapologetically sovereignist. Faye is water, calm, diplomatic, cautious. This difference became even more obvious in their approach to the IMF. Sonko immediately rejected debt restructuring as dangerous. Faye stayed silent. The divide is also clear in foreign relations, especially with France. Sonko wants Senegal to break old dependencies. Faye prefers a softer, diplomatic reset. When French troops left Senegal, many credited Sonko for pushing hardest. But after coming to power, President Faye took a different path. He made his first official visit to France, then met President Macron again at the International Conference on Financing for Development. Their meeting was warm, cooperative, almost aligned. Faye openly discussed deepening cooperation with France in economics, security, culture, and even historical memory. Macron confirmed it publicly, saying the partnership wasn't ending, it was being rebuilt. This shocked many Senegalese who expected a revolutionary break, not a diplomatic reset. But here's the truth. Faye isn't changing course from the beginning. He said he wanted a win-win partnership with Europe. He never promised to cut ties, just to redefine them. Sonko, however, has always seen cooperation with France as a threat. To him, it's another gateway for foreign influence. And now that philosophical difference is exploding into a political crisis. Because deep down the issue is bigger than policy. Sonko was supposed to be president. He was the movement's leader, the man the streets loved, the force behind the revolution. His arrest may have stopped him from running, but it didn't erase his influence. To understand today's crisis, you have to go back to where it all started. In 2014, Sonko created PASTEF. Faye was just a quiet guest at the time, but he quickly rose through the ranks, helping design Sonko's 2019 presidential program. In 2021, Sonko was arrested, and Faye took over leadership responsibilities. When Sonko was detained again and barred from running in 2024, Faye, also imprisoned, became the movement's last remaining option. PASTEF had been dissolved. Many opposition figures were sidelined. Almost everyone was pushed out, except Faye. His candidacy survived. When he was released under a general amnesty, he and Sonko campaigned together. The crowds were massive. The energy was unstoppable. And when Faye published his assets, just $6,600 in total, he gained even more trust from the public. On March 26, 2024, Faye became Senegal's new president. But the victory was built on Sonko's base, Sonko's party, Sonko's movement. Everyone knew it. And that's what makes the current crisis so dangerous. The alliance that brought Senegal's revolution is breaking down. If Faye fires Sonko, the drama won't end. Sonko returns to parliament instantly. His seat was only suspended, not erased. PASTEF dominates the National Assembly. With one move, Sonko could become president of the Assembly, the second most powerful position in Senegal, and constitutionally next in line for the presidency. Two centers of power would emerge. Two competing visions. One government split in two. And at that point, the question wouldn't be, who is president? It would be, who truly controls Senegal's political system? And many believe the answer would still be Ousmane Sonko. For Senegal's future, the hope is that both men can reconcile before this political storm becomes impossible to contain.